Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the south-afrifur podcast. You're listening to myself, Ivik Wolf, and our guest this evening is Mog Moogle,
Hello,
who
thank
is
you for having me.
always a pleasure. And then obviously we have our co-host with Scratch.
Yep.
Bravura says hello. We all say hello to Bravura. He is the purveyor of all things furry in this radio station. So, Mog, maybe we can just start off by asking how you kind of found the fandom, and what you are and what a Moogle is, in essence.
Yeah. So I basically just stumbled across furry artwork and started looking into it, and ended up finding a website called Yifstar, if you'll remember that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to join it, but I didn't. After looking into it, I lurked for a little while, and it's like, okay, so I need a persona, and I started going through. It's like, well, what would I be? Would I be a fox? Would I be a wolf? I just going down the list of the quote unquote starter species there.
Yeah.
And well, back in 1996, there was this little game that came out in the United States. They marketed it as Final Fantasy III. Of course, it was actually the Final Fantasy VI over in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since I played that game, I changed my gaming handle to Moogle, and so it just kind of dawned on me. It's like, well, of course, Mog Moogle. I'm a Moogle, so that's how Mog Moogle of the furry fandom was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was back in 2001, and as far as I know, I was the first actual Moogle in the fandom. I haven't found one that joined before that.
And anything after that? Any Moogles after that?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few of us now.
Think it. Well, I mean, how many total?
Well, off the top of my head, I can think of three that I talk to regularly. And there's a laundry list. More ones that I don't talk to. Some are like Moogle and other species hybrids. Like there's a Moogle fox hybrid, and there's a Moogle Red 13 hybrid.
Ooh.
It's by Red Moogle, unironically. He's a sweetheart, though.
Wow.
What was that?
What was that?
I think it must be Mog's mic. Sorry, it was a little bit loud. Some reverb there or something. You okay, Mog?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Just for no reason at all, I'd like to say hello to somebody called Karin, I believe. Special request from somebody in chat. Just letting you guys know that we are reading it. So if you guys do want to say something or want us to ask Moogle anything, please do use the chat thing here on furry.fm. There is a live chat button on the right-hand side. Have a squiz there, and then just. But yeah, okay. Anyway, so 2001. That's pretty much. I don't know what one could call the modern furrydom at that point, where internet was beginning to become far more accessible to a lot of people, especially younger furries at the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, here in the U.S., of course, the late '90s was when internet really started to come around and be more common in homes. I remember watching this video when I was in middle school, actually, and they said there's over 30,000 websites, and of course now that there's probably 300 million websites just in the U.S. alone. So,
I mean that was still when AOL was a thing, right?
Right. No, our first internet service. Oh yeah. We had a 14.4 dial-up modem. We thought we were We thought we were, we thought we were hot stuff with that.
Yeah.
Being the kings of the internet with the dial-up modem, I miss those days.
Yeah.
Actually, like I still remember our dial-up modem was off of an AMD K6.
We're afraid of nothing.
Like full on, like it was pretty much what you could call a laptop now because everything was built into it: speakers, CD-ROM drive, the works. And instead of it being like an automated sound for like the internet and things like that, the actual PC made those noises when it was like dialing up to the internet. There was that point where, like if your mom was on a phone call, you couldn't use the internet.
Yeah, it would just die.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not want to go back to those dark ages, seriously. We just got fiber installed in the flat, and I am ecstatic.
Completely and utterly over the moon. Said completely and utterly over the moon about that.
Yeah, no. It was a mission, though. Anyone in South Africa listening, do not go with Voxes and ISP. They suck.
Okay.
Just putting it out there. Like, seriously, I did not have a good experience with them.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, like, obviously you're a writer, and I've been seeing I was actually, like, I followed you recently on Twitter, and a lot of the people that I follow, or at least south-afrifur follows you as well. So, I mean, like, what's your claim to fame there?
Well, I had my first story accepted for print back in 2015, but I've been writing since 2004. And what I'm most known for at this point is something called the Best and Greatest Story, which is actually being published. It's approximately 1,400 words, completely unedited. The plot is terrible. I inserted myself as a character. It's a parody it's a parody of bad erotica, and it actually came into being because a very renowned editor, Dark End, of Sofa Wolf Press, made a list of 25 erotica cliches that you should not do. So I wrote this story. It took me about 45 minutes to do. Wrote this story, and I hit all but one of them. I ended up missing one of them. It's got 24 of the 25 in it.
I almost want to say boo, but I think it's more congratulations on managing to write, the most cliched piece of furry erotica.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just cliched. Like, I was, I guess, taunting people on, like, we were playing games earlier this week, and when Mog actually sent this link to me, I decided that I might as well just read it online. And I know that it's been read quite often at conventions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Matthew Ebels actually read it twice at two different cons, and that's it's been recorded. He's actually had furry authors come and read different parts, different characters from this story. So I'm still waiting to hear the recordings, but man, I want to hear them. I want to hear them bad.
Yeah, and I mean, like when Matthew Ebel actually gets involved in something like that, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be good.
Actually, yeah, it really was. Oddly enough, I was reading it, and I was a vast amount of people who were actually in the chat with me wanted me to stop, but every single time that there was like any kind of pause, I would just continue. To the point that I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were actually playing League at the time. So one of the things that I was doing is that I was doing it sort of in between, like waiting for the game to sort of start. And somebody actually said that they would go all the way to mid lane and just kill themselves if I continued doing it. They went down to like half health, and it was kind of creepy. At that point, I was like, well, should I continue or should I make a mint? I'm not necessarily sure.
Congratulations, you managed to have someone kill themselves, albeit metaphorically, because of your incessance.
Eventually, I will get it right that somebody actively does that. But yeah, so I mean, like, beyond, that sort of claim to fame and everything like that, I mean, again, you've been around since 2001. One of the things that I do want to ask is that, like, between 2001 and now, have things actively changed within the fandom for you at all?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I used to be very, very closed in. I didn't have many friends at all, and really, it just in the past couple years, getting in with the Furry Writers Guild and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
My social circle is enormous now, and that's all because of furry,
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been kind of introverted, and it's so that's what's changed for me. As far as the fandom itself, it's got its ups and downs. You see the thing coming in, like the whole deal with the burn furs, and now the furry writers and the alt-right furries, alt furries, whatever.
All that nonsense.
But there's always been some outlier group, as far as I can recall. It's just they do seem more vocal now than they were.
No, the internet gives everyone a platform. It's just, they have the right to say what they want, but we have the right to tell them to fuck off because of it.
Right. Well, and that's a very good point, because back mentioning back in 2001, you had your desktop PC with your dial-up modem, and now you've got internet in your pocket all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a watch that I can do internet searches with.
Yeah.
The future is amazing.
No, it really is. And I mean, so maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like, what else have you been sort of like up to since, I guess, 2001, between 2001 and now?
Oh, well, after I got out of high school in 2003, I joined the Army. Did that for a while. After I got out of the Army, I was a police officer for 6 years, and I miss that job. I miss it every day.
What, as a police officer?
What's that?
As a police officer?
Yeah. I miss and I miss it.
Okay.
But I ended up tearing my ACL in my left knee, so I could either fly a desk or figure out something else to do. So I basically took a few years off and just focused on writing. I treated it like a job. I wrote for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's that doesn't pay bills. So now I'm driving a truck, and I've been driving a truck for about 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
How's that treating you? I mean, trucking must be kind of lonely.
Huh.
It really is. It's very isolating. And I really don't like that aspect of it. It's been stressful. It's been a lot of getting used to. Like now I'm fighting with connection issues. I still can't really see the chat because my tablet won't connect. It's on the cell system, and it's not connecting. But fortunately, the phone's working, so I can still do this interview.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, at the end of the day, with the three of us here, it should be fine. Like, I'm checking furry.fm, so if any questions do come up for you, I will actually answer them. Or at least answer them. Ask them to you so that you can answer them. Yeah. But yeah, so with the ACL, do you continue?
Yeah, what happened? Like any good stories on the force?
Some that I'm not ready to tell. I did see a dead kid. I won't tell that story yet.
Oof.
funny thing. I was a narcotics specialist, so I dealt with a lot of drug cases. We were doing the first year I started 6 drug stops a day.
Jeez.
And finally, the local municipal court said, "Look, you guys got to back off. We can't handle the caseload." So we stopped charging so many people. If they just had if it was just a minor misdemeanor possession or something, we would just make them destroy it, which oftentimes I found was worse than charging them with it, because I would personally give it back to them. It's like, okay, put it on the ground, crush it into the pavement, and the look on their face was, but
wow.
My very first drug stop actually came up on this kid, and he had a marijuana cigarette, and after it was all said and done, and he said, "Do I get my J back?" And I'm like, "No, what are you doing?"
That's the whole point. Like, you're not getting it back because we caught you with it. It's not cool.
Right.
Poor kid.
My goodness me. Really? How old was he?
Yeah. I think he was 17.
Uh-huh. Okay. And obviously, like, your side of the provinces haven't necessarily done the same thing that California has recently, yeah?
This was back in 2000.
Yeah.
2006. So
yeah.
Even then, it wasn't legal in California.
Okay. All right, and I mean, like with the entire, and I mean, like obviously for us, I mean, we've had like the odd military fur, but to have a person who at least was a cop at some point, like what exactly is that kind of experience like? I mean, did they even know that you were a furry? Did you ever let anybody know about that? If you did, how did that feel?
That's actually kind of a funny story, because it did eventually come out. Somebody somebody basically, well, police officers are curious people, so they put together that my time off in July, when I said I'm going to Pittsburgh, I go to Pittsburgh every July, they eventually linked that
with
to
Anthrocon.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there were a few guys that actually tried to out me as a furry, and it's like, well, yeah, I am a furry. No, I'm not going to tell you what my username is. It's none of your business, and
Mm-hmm.
But so it became kind of a little in joke. After I wouldn't budge. Back during that time, I wouldn't even post my face on the internet at all. I just completely kept it separate.
Okay. So, okay, that's actually pretty fair. Just letting you know that at Wolf underscore TVL says hello. He also calls you Mog Moogle. So, speaking of, why mustaches? Like, I mean, I see that you're actually doing things like, styling it and everything like that. So, what's the deal behind the mustache?
Well, I couldn't grow one until I was 23, and ever since I've been 23, I've always had one. And after I got out of law enforcement, I just kind of let it grow to see how long it would get.
Okay.
And I was riding my bike one day, and the ends curled up on it, and I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I've got a handlebar mustache, and so I started waxing it and grooming it and training it, and now I've got a handlebar mustache.
Define training it. Is it just like essentially keeping it in a certain position until it stays that way, or?
Yeah. You can train your hair if you just style it a certain way every single day. It'll eventually go to where that's just its default state.
Huh. Okay, good to know.
So, what involves training then? Like wax and?
Yeah. It's just I just use wax. It's a mixture of beeswax and like some type of coconut butter. I have a friend that makes it, but it's all natural stuff. And occasionally, when I need a real extreme curl, I will put a little bit of styling gel in it to hold it.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's cool. Yeah, I use some like beard oil myself, but the whole like mustache styling, my mustache is not where it needs to be, and also it's lighter than the rest of my face, so it annoys the hell out of me. So just like, you know what, I'll just keep the beard going, keep the homeless look going, and yeah, hope I don't lose my job.
No, my mustache is like ginger. It's reddish blonde, and almost all the rest of me is just like brown hair. So it's my mustache does stand out.
That's cool. Lucky.
Scratch, I'm not necessarily sure whether they can hear you or not. I know that there's been a couple of people who said, like, is it just
really?
Or whether they're missing audio from one of the hosts or not. I'm not necessarily sure whether that's
okay. One sec. Let me take a look. Is this on furry.fm?
Yeah, but apparently Mog can hear you.
Yeah, Mark can hear me, but yeah. I'll quickly take a look.
And do excuse us for taking a small second to just
sort this shit out. Where's the other input? It should be coming through voice meter. Ooh, hold on a second.
That's sweet.
You guys can hear me here, right?
Yeah, I can hear you there fine. Yours fine.
Okay.
I can hear you just fine.
I think it should be good now. The voice meter just messed out for a bit. If anyone, just ask if everyone can hear me on the other side.
James Welp actually said def missing audio from one of your hosts.
Okay.
We can't hear Scratch. I think I hear him laughing.
That's most likely Badge in the background. Yeah. Voice meter is showing some input now, so perhaps it's fixed now. Voice meter just had a little bit of a hiccup, but killed my channel for some reason. But yeah, I'm back now. Seems I'm back.
That's okay. Good stuff. Okay, very, very sorry about that. Thank you for letting us know here on Twitter, as well as on the fur.fm site as well. Thank you, Jakutle. Thank you for Dwale for letting us know. We really do apologize.
Apologize.
Apply.
We do apply mustache wax.
We do apply mustache wax, but some of us don't have mustaches long enough for mustache wax. I tend to just rock the goatee and be done with it, like the mustache goatee sort of thing. What do you call that anyway?
I think that's like a full goatee. I know it is the Freeman goatee.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm rocking the Freeman goatee. Freeman, I am. No, I'm not. No one actually is. Cool. So Dwale says that you can hear us. That is amazing. Jakute sends the Italian okay sign. I think it's Italian.
I don't know. It's the A-OK. I just noticed
it's the A-OK. So I mean, obviously, keeping your job and your furry life apart from one another. Obviously, people are attempting to out you as a furry and things like that. Like, any funny stories in respect to that at all?
So, they did eventually learn that I was a Moogle, and then not too long after that, Shane Benninger, he was he did it in jest. He was actually a fun guy, but there were these pictures of a Moogle that he found on the internet and just printed up, and I wear glasses, so he drew little wireframe glasses on the Moogle and cut out a little star in the shape of our badge and stuck it to the Moogle's chest, and printed up a bunch of copies and hung them around the office.
Were any of them actually your character or not?
No, they were stock images from. I actually believe it was the Kingdom Hearts Moogle that he found.
Okay. Well, at least everyone took it in good jest, at least, or good spirits. At least by the sounds of it.
Right, and I was always known as kind of an oddball anyway. So they actually after the two guys that were being spiteful about it kind of failed to move anybody else in their direction. It was more just like an in joke. Around the station, and everyone just had a good time with it.
That's cool.
All right.
Because people can be dicks about stuff like this, like, oh, you're into this or into that, and especially something that's so, like, I don't know, oddly stigmatized, like the furry fandom. People tend to be assholes about shit.
Yeah. And
go. Yeah. Well, yeah. Having to explain that there's a difference between furry and bestiality on multiple occasions wasn't exactly pleasant either. So
yeah, that's always a fun conversation to have.
Oh yeah, but people. There is an awful lot of negative media out there, directed toward the furry fandom, and a lot of I've encountered a lot of regular mundane people, I guess you would say, that don't know there isn't a difference between it. So it's something I've explained on more than one occasion. We've had conversations with people in Pittsburgh at Anthrocon. Like, oh, what's furry? I hear you guys have sex with animals. Like, no, that's not furry.
Yeah.
Damn. You think a place like Pittsburgh has Anthrocon every single year might know better, at least, like, a little. Sorry, go ahead.
To be fair, it's been several years. That was back in 2010. So, I think they're a little more receptive. Actually, I know why Pittsburgh's so receptive to us. They really enjoy the money that we bring in.
Yeah. Like, how much money does Anthrocon make in a year? It must be a ton. And Pittsburgh gets so much of that that's like just runoff money, like people, services and shops and stuff.
Well, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I remember a little pamphlet that Anthrocon it was the Pittsburgh city paper or something like that, and they were saying something like that furries had injected like $7 million into their economy for the whole time that Anthrocon's been at Pittsburgh. So,
damn.
Yeah, they do enjoy the boost to the economy that Anthrocon brings.
It's insane, though. 7 million is like,
it's nothing to wipe your nose at.
Yeah, it's got nothing. It won't necessarily help our economy currently, but I mean, it could try. Wow, but I mean, obviously that's
especially.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, go ahead.
No, go for it. Okay.
I mean, especially considering that only recently Anthrocon started breaking the 3,000 attendee mark. Just the past couple of years, and we did the 5 and then the 7. So it's a relatively small number of people spending a lot of money in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about it, if there's 3,000 attendees, and they make $7 million annually. Is it in total that they've put $7 million into the economy?
I believe they said it was in total, yeah, since Anthrocon had been in Pittsburgh, and I think they started there in 2006.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think 2006 sounds about right, yeah?
Yeah, because if it's in a year, that means every person... Yeah, 3,000 attendees, $7 million, that means each person spends more than $1,000 when they go to, like, Anthrocon. That seems a little bit steep.
Right.
But yeah, it's good to know that it's at least leaving a little bit of a mark on Pittsburgh itself. Any cool con stories? I mean, Ivik and I have had this idea of going to Anthrocon at some point for how many? More than a decade by now? In high school, we still had this conversation.
Since 2003-4.
Yeah.
We've had the idea of actually attending Anthrocon and actually making enough money and saving enough to be able to just randomly go, but that never happens, mostly because it's like a 3-year plan to make that kind of money.
Yeah,
and who knows? Things change.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Well, I mean, as far as as you could do a GoFundMe or something. Send the. No, I'm serious. I'll bet you. I bet you get it done if you did a GoFundMe.
Okay, so random question to the chat. I mean, there's like 21 people here already. Who would go fund myself and Scratch to go to Anthrocon?
Crickets.
I mean, you know,
I expect crickets.
I expect crickets as well. I'm going to wait for that to happen. Because, I mean, obviously, like, South Africa's exchange rate to that of America is an absolute crapshoot.
Yeah.
That's for starters. We'd have to look at something like, what was it, like 20K each?
Oh, easy.
Like rand-wise, at any rate.
Yeah, it's like 14 rand to the dollar at this point.
Yeah, 14 rand to the dollar. So, I mean, what is it? It's about 10,000 rand, so $1,000 one way, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 both ways between us and Pittsburgh.
So that's easily 30,000 per person, at least, and that's just tickets. That's not even a flight tickets. Yeah. That's not even con tickets, any con merch, accommodation, food. Ugh.
Taking all of the luggage that we need to take along, which includes the possibility of a fursuit and a like all the equipment that we'd like to take along, like our video. Well, we don't have video equipment currently, but I mean like sound recording equipment and whatnot.
Yeah. The fursuit will most likely have to like ship independently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way we're getting that on a flight without a million questions.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this? It's a suitcase.
I'm a mascot. Just leave it at that.
What's the word? Sudan says, "Sup, bitches." Whoops.
Hi, Sudan.
Jacoodle says he's got $5 lying around on PayPal, so that's great. $5 to the eventual $30,000 plane ticket.
Every bit helps.
Every bit helps. Like at this point, I'm kind of sitting here going, like, you know what? Camp Ferrell would be nice. European con would be nice. Anything. I mean, and it's kind of that kind of experience for us. Is that I mean, this year we also had our own first convention. 20 people, including Sudan Red, myself, Scratch, Badge, who's sitting next to me. We all attended that, and we even had Bravura, who's been listening very, very patiently, waiting for me to call out his name again, who actually came through. And we had an amazingly good time in a venue that maybe could have been a little bit better, but then again, like, it all added to this kind of aesthetic of, you know, what's the word? There's no turning back. There's a part where you're going to like 3 to 4 kilometers of nothing but dirt road, and you're just like sitting there going like, well, anything happened here, the police would only take about an hour to get to where we are. It's great. Yeah. It's fine. No worries.
Afrika kukala bamwene.
What?
As Johnny Clegg would sing.
Did you actually go see Johnny Clegg?
No, I didn't. I'm a little bit like, I regret it a little bit. But I regret a lot more not going to see Dylan Marn when he was at Grahamstown. You know of this, though.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, yeah, Dylan Marn was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, I don't know. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, so con stories from the Moogle. and his mustache?
Oh, well, the first year that I attended the Sofa Wolf release party, I actually crashed it.
Nice.
Yeah, I wasn't invited. Had a couple writer friends, Ocean Tigrox, Night Eyes, and Slip Wolf. Like, hey, we're going to the Sofa Wolf release party. I'm like, cool, and I just kind of followed them in. But that was 2 years ago. Last year, as you know, this Anthrocon, I actually got an invite because I was published in Heat with a poem.
Nice.
So that was exciting.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was a very exciting poem.
If you guys can check it out, it's really unique, and the layout. Black Tegan did the layout of it, and the way it was done captured my whole idea for the poem perfectly. So it's really good.
Huh. I mean, that's amazing, though. I mean, like, it's always good to be published somewhere and having some sort of recognition for the work that you're doing. Want to ask, though, from military to policeman to truck driver, how is driving truck? I've never spoken to somebody who actually drives. So tell me about that experience as well.
Oh yeah. Driving a semi tractor is exactly like driving a car, except that it's completely different.
Sounds about right.
No, what you're really doing is you're driving the trailer. You have to watch your trailer at all times. Be aware of how your trailer will move when you do something with your tractor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the semi trucks. I have a 2016 Freightliner Cascadia. So I mean, my truck's like 21 feet long, and then I've got a 53-foot trailer behind me. So I don't know if you've ever seen those guys making turns, but semi trucks go out really wide on turns, and that's the only reason they do that is so that trailer doesn't, drag over the curb, take out poles and signs and all that. Yeah. So it's driving the trailer. It's not so much driving the tractor.
Holy crap!
You have to make sure you have
massive.
You have you need a 1,000,000-mile turning circle for that thing.
Yeah. And,
what color is it?
Mine is gray.
Okay, because I just posted a red one. Is it this one?
Oh no, that's got an extended sleeper on it. That's that'd be nice. The extended sleepers are basically like apartments. They have kitchenettes and showers and all kinds of stuff. And RVs.
You're kidding, right? Like literal showers and shit like that. What?
Yeah. The extended sleepers. They'll have kitchenettes and a toilet and a shower. Just like an RV does.
Okay, but you obviously have to stop before you use the toilet, right?
Yeah, yeah. You can't be doing that while you're driving.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
So any interesting stories while on the road?
Not too awful much yet. I haven't been at it very long. Like I said, about 5 months. So, probably the most interesting things that I see are it's just it's getting into autumn here, and they've been running me in the Northeast a lot, and which means mountains and fall colors. So I've seen some really pretty fallscapes.
Okay, what's your normal route like?
I'm over the road. I run the Eastern 38, which basically means from Texas up to Wisconsin and everywhere east. And I go. I'm force dispatched. I go wherever they send me. I work for the third largest trucking company in the United States. So they move a lot of freight. So I'm never. The only time I have downtime is when I schedule myself for downtime.
Oh, okay. You can actually do that?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you're required by law if you're not fit to drive, you're required by law not to drive.
All right, and I mean, like, Jakutel actually mentions a second steering wheel in the loo with like a big screen TV, I guess, like with a camera in front of the truck, which might actually be interesting. But it's the issue of getting from there to the bathroom.
Yeah, those like few seconds.
Right.
Huh. Okay. Sudan says that they're like two separate convos overlapping. Now, apparently. Which is here.
Is it an audio thing, or is it just like you think there's a bunch of different conversations going on between a bunch of us? Because I don't want any more audio issues.
No, I don't think that there's any audio issues. I'm just going to tell her to refresh.
Right.
Because maybe it's somehow picking up what was said and where she is. Okay. So, Atwolf actually asked, he did his Code 14 back in 2014. What's a Code 14 here? I'm assuming that's a truck license?
Yeah, probably.
What kind of license do you have to do? Like, what kind of training do you guys go through?
It's just well, they call it truck driving school. Mine was 6 weeks long, and 3 weeks long, and it was a week of class time and 2 weeks of road time, and they teach you how to pass the driving test.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much all they do. Fortunately, my school was a little more in depth than some of them, but you really don't learn how to drive one of these things till you get hired on with the company and start driving them.
Okay. So, where is home for you then?
It's the Dayton metro area in Ohio.
Okay.
I live in a little suburb there.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, like, obviously, many people, or at least many memes, I guess, would say that, truck driving is a relatively lonely job. Like, do you ever get lonely on the road?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's not something that, I hate to say it, I don't even enjoy my job. I really don't like it at all. And it's because of that isolation, because I can't just pick up my phone and start texting people. They can literally find me out of business if I get caught with the phone in my hand. So it's almost, it's at least 10 hours a day of not really talking to anybody, unless somebody's just chatting on the CB, and that doesn't happen as often as the stereotypes would have you believe.
Okay.
Nothing that you can do, like set up a hands-free kit and something, just talk with random people, or I don't know.
No, I can. Technically, my company doesn't allow even hands-free phone calls.
Sheesh.
Wow.
But it's one of those things. 90% of the people that work here ignore it. So, but as far as voice communication goes, I've found that a lot of people in my particular social circles are very averse to it.
Voice communication, yeah, I understand. Like, why call if you could just text someone?
Very good reason.
I know. But I'm one of those like antisocial people who's like, just contact me via text first, then we can organize for a call. Because I can handle a text at any time, but I can't always pick up a phone call.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. I'm weird.
No, but I mean, like that's the thing. Like, I mean, why waste 20 minutes attempting to explain yourself in a phone call? I mean, over text, when you can literally phone someone and go, "Hey, so look, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and I'm gonna meet you here." Versus,
Done.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely
flip phone
understand that.
style.
I mean, it's just,
No, I actually agree with that. It's phone calls to me are a lot more concise. Texting does take an awful long time. It's just a form of communication. I have to text people now because that's the form of communication that most people are comfortable with these days.
yeah, that is unfortunately the main method, main modus operandi, whatever you want to call it. The norm. That's the word I'm looking for. Why did that take me so long?
Modus operandi, norm, da da da. Okay, well, yeah. Sudan obviously mentions picking up hitchhikers or dropping off bodies. And then Advolf asks the following, and obviously, like he's got a lot of truck questions, which is actually pretty interesting. So obviously, with respect to like voice calling and things like that, like CB radio stuff, do you use it to chat with other drivers? What kind of chats do you guys have? I know that, for instance, one of the stories that like I read recently was that like someone cut off another truck driver, and what they actually did is that somebody went onto the CB radio, coordinated like 3 trucks to then just box him in and drive at like 40.
Wow.
Yeah, stuff like that does happen. And mainly the CB is.
So you're gonna have to repeat that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, stuff like that does happen.
Your mic seems to be disappearing.
It's a little bit quiet. Yellow.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Better.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So stuff like that does happen. Truckers will coordinate things like that over the CB. They do what we call rolling roadblocks, and and yeah, it can be entertaining, but it's also illegal in most places. So you got to be careful doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But mainly the CB is just a tool. Like you come up on a traffic slowdown, like, hey, westbound, what's going on? They say, well, there's an accident, at mile marker 14, and the left lane's blocked. Take the right lane. So that's mostly what it's for.
Okay.
Yeah. Conveying information more so than chatting. Because if you block up a CB channel, it's just it's just one voice at a time, right? And there's only so many channels.
Yeah, correct. That's right. And and the general channel is channel 19 because 19 has the strongest band, I guess.
Throughout America?
I think that's in general, just the way, because they're line of sight radios. They're basically two-way radios. Anybody on that channel can key up, and you hear people talk over each other on occasion. And in that case, whoever has the strongest signal will be more clear, but it's usually just garbled when there's more than one person talking at the same time.
So pretty much like this podcast.
Yeah.
We can still argue about shit, but yeah, it's going to be blocked out in most cases.
Dwayne asks, have you ever gotten in got given a hitchhiker a ride in exchange for quote unquote favors?
Of course, Dwayne asks that.
What's the saying? Gas, grass, or ass, nobody rides for free?
Yeah. The funny thing is that, like, Badge heard me ask this question. He's like, he was probably going to ask this question eventually.
But no, I mean, well, long story short, I have to work here for 6 months, before I can buy rider insurance, and I have to have rider insurance before I can pick up hitchhikers.
So you're actually allowed to pick up hitchhikers, but only...
Yes. There's the only stipulation is you have to know their first name. That's all that they require. So, hey, what's your name?
What?
Cool. Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker, just for safety concerns. But
this is something that I would totally want to do.
What, pick up hitchhikers? You can do that.
Yeah.
Not in this country.
Not in this country, no, but yeah.
I would... Immediately I'm thinking of some kind of system where I can install a taser into the seat of my car, the passenger seat, so that if shit goes down, you just flick a switch and shock the shit out of their asses.
Taser in the seat with like a button.
Yes, exactly.
Badge's transition was pick up hitchhikers, poke them in the butt.
Did you guys ever see that? Did you guys ever see Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yeah,
I might have.
Yeah, it was the sequel to the Fast and Furious, and it was much worse.
Now they have 8.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, but in Too Fast, Too Furious, they had those. They rigged up the nitrous oxide bottles to make ejector seats in the cars.
I remember that for some dumb reason.
You totally need that. I mean, like Grant said, yes, you do need the insurance for things like that. But I mean, I'm assuming. Jakudal says phrasing as always. There is a 30-second. It's not a lag so much, but there is 30 seconds that goes from live to where we are now.
Yeah, that's just the broadcast delay. We can't really do anything about that, unfortunately.
That is broadcast delay. Advolf asks again, with JK as the parentheses, do you own an 8-track tape deck?
As a matter of fact, I do. Not in my truck, but I'm a bit of an audiophile, so I have a dual cassette deck, a turntable, an 8-track player. That's all at my home stereos set up at home.
Gonna ask, and this is probably gonna show like vast amounts of like ignorance on my side, but what exactly is an 8-track and what makes it special?
It's a precursor to the cassette, and what makes it special is, well, it's not really that special anymore because all this stuff's been picked up by collectors and converted to digital media, so the stuff that you could only get on 8 tracks, for the most part, is out there on the internet. You can find it, on YouTube or whatever. Mm-hmm. But back when, back before there were things that were released on records that you couldn't get on cassette. There were things released on 8 tracks you couldn't get on cassette, and now that everything's digital, there
is no more barrier.
It's not as big of a thing, right? Yeah.
Okay. Second part of that question from Advolf is, what is your playlist when driving long distance?
I have a bunch of podcasts, writing podcasts, Fangs and Fonts, and Chris Williams, Sparf, does this one called Independent Clause. I got all of his podcasts on there. I listen to those quite a bit. I also have a bunch of. Are you familiar with the game Morrowind?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've collected over the years a whole bunch of MP3 files that I've dumped into my Morrowind Explorer folder, and it's a couple hours of just atmospheric type music that just fits in with Morrowind really well. And I put that on my phone, and I plug my phone into my stereo and listen to that a lot.
Wow,
that's really cool.
That is actually very cool. TJ Minda asks, as a writer, what story are you most proud of?
Oh, that is an interesting question. At present, I would have to say, oh man, I think TJ just stumped me. Well, the first story I got published, I think a lot of
We've lost you again. A little.
Sorry. How about now?
Nope.
Yeah, it's just a little bit quiet. The mic seems to have bugged out a little bit.
Yeah. It's dead. All right.
Right.
Hold on,
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Mog, you there?
Okay. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah.
All right. We'll do it this way. I won't be able to hear you guys as well, but I'll be able to. You'll be able to hear me better. So, the first story I published was actually about a transgender character coming out to her father at the same time her boyfriend was going to be leaving for the military.
Yeah.
The story's called Transitions. It's in Fragments of Life's Heart, published by Weasel Press. And sorry for the beeps.
No worries.
My computer in my truck just reset.
Okay.
So I believe that in the sense that it was my first published piece, and in the I wanted to tell, I'm most proud of that. I do have one coming out in Knotted 2 that I've been trying to get published for almost 3 years before it was accepted for Knotted, and it's gone through major revisions, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that one, so I'm pretty proud of that one.
Okay, so was it a furry? Obviously, it was a furry related story, but I mean, like, with that whole premise, like, how did? It's gonna be a weird question. How did you get to that kind of ideology? Is it like a personal thing or anything? Blah.
Are you talking about with telling a story about the transgender character coming out to her family?
Yeah. Like was that again, like one of the questions that we might ask writers is that, like, how much of this would be based on, like, sort of normal life, for instance, your life?
Okay. And with that, I'm going to do the typical cliche answer. Well, every character I write has a little bit of me in them, and blah blah blah. But aside from that, the main reason I wrote a transgender character was because at the time I didn't understand transgender people. I didn't understand what that was like, because that's not my mindset. I don't have. I've always been comfortable with my biological gender. I've always been comfortable being a male, so it wasn't something that I really grasped. And so that whole thing was an exercise in trying to understand something that I didn't understand. And I actually spoke with three different male to female transgender friends that I had.
Yeah.
To make sure that I got the details right. I would interview them, and one of the cool things about the friends that I have is a lot of them are really willing to talk to me, and in turn, they can come to me with questions like, well, what would a police officer do like this? So that's the big advantage of the Furry Writers Guild. Just the wide variety of experiences, gender identities, genders, men and women, sexualities. It's just a plethora of information out there, and we're all willing to share with one another. So that was my motivation for writing it. I wanted to understand what it was like to be transgender and to transition.
Okay. So no personal, like, connection to that at all.
not as far as my own personal experiences. I do have a personal connection to the characters. I really like the characters in the story. But no, that was it. And I've done this. I've done this on a couple other occasions. Like I didn't understand really the foot fetish thing, so I wrote a foot fetish story, and then I had people messaging me wanting to roleplay foot fetish stuff. And into this, I'm just trying to understand it,
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be a dick, but that's on you.
Fair enough.
It's like you open up that door, and some people are gonna see if they can sneak in.
Right. And, yeah. It's that was my first experience with that, really, and that's what that taught me. That taught me that you put this stuff out there, people are gonna see it, and they're gonna ask about it, and they're gonna make assumptions. So
it's it's kind of like saying, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I remember, what was it, back in and weirdly enough, and this is something that I actually did back in 2011, 2010, with one of my English papers that I was handing in. I always used to do all these weird random cover pages and whatnot for like whatever I was doing, and this was in my third year of English, and one of the things that I was actively like into, or not necessarily actively into or not, but the thing is that, like, I loved, for instance, the Nazi uniform. And had I done anything in respect to that now, I'd have felt very, very out in respect to a large amount of things. I mean, like, I'm on Twitter right now. The first word that I see as I'm scrolling down is fascist. And I'm going, like, when it comes to connecting oneself with a specific ideal or ideology or anything along the lines of that, it's kind of weird to be stuck in a place where you never thought that you'd be accused of being that person. And recently, I mean, like, I remember I was showing Badge, because we were going through all the boxes with all my papers and everything like that in it, which I packed in before I even moved up to where I am now, and just never actually got around to unpacking and throwing away and whatnot. I was showing him all these papers, and I was like sitting there going like, if anybody had to see the cover page that I used for this English paper, everybody would be absolutely 100% upset with me. And it was literally a guy in a Nazi uniform kissing another dude in, like, whatever other regalia there was. And I was just sitting there going like, this don't work well.
Why do I remember this?
Yeah, because I showed it to you. I was like, dude, this is going to be amazing.
This is going to piss off so many people.
This is going to piss off so many people. But then again, like, I mean, Nazi hatred was not necessarily such a big thing back in 2011, or was it?
Yeah, I think it's been a consistent theme. Like, it's common knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, no,
yeah,
seriously, like, the whole Nazi hating thing is, like, on the same level as, like, classical romanticism in movies. It's on the same, like, everybody knows about it level. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you've. I'm going to ask you a very random question, Mog. I'm not sure if you've seen the, like, cast list for the new Lion King.
Yeah.
No, I can't say I have.
Huh? They kept Mufasa. Yes, of course they'd keep. Of course, James Earl Jones will stay Mufasa. If he's still alive, stay Mufasa.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I mean, there's Donald Glover, not Danny Glover.
Donald Glover. Danny Glover's is the guy from Lethal Weapon, I think. Getting too old for this shit.
Huh. Is Donald Glover Danny? No, I'm not going to ask that question.
Just because they're both black?
No, it's because their surnames are Glover, goddammit.
I know.
Shut the fuck up. Beyonce, James Earl Jones as Mufasa, Chiwetel, my goodness me. Ejiofor, Scar, Alfred. Oh, Alfred. What the hell is wrong with me? But yeah, so I mean, like, if you actually have, I'm going to post this to you, and I'm going to ask you what you think about it.
Also,
this actually,
John Oliver as Zazu.
I'm not necessarily sure whether I'm happy with that pick at all.
Why?
Huh.
Fuck John Oliver and like such.
I have to agree. I don't know if John Oliver could pull that off.
No, you know who I'm pissed about? Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. Seth Rogen can go fuck himself. I hate him. He has two shticks. It's being chubby and being high. That's all.
He's cute though.
Don't care.
Seth Rogen.
If a movie has Seth Rogen in it,
Once upon a time.
Dude, if a movie has Seth Rogen in it, I immediately lose interest in that movie.
Like some of these people I don't actually even know.
The Key from Key and Peele is in there.
Keegan
Eric
Michael,
Andre is there.
Keegan Michael Key, who does Obama quite well.
And he's in Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Billy Eichner as Timon.
I don't know, with a name like Eichner. Who the hell's Billy Eichner anyway? Somebody tell me.
He's in the new American Horror Story, among other things.
I'm going to have a large amount of people hate me by saying I don't watch that show.
I watch it on and off. It's good. I like it.
James Earl Jones. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sidan says, I am honestly surprised James Earl Jones is still alive.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
He's really up there.
Dude, you can live long off Darth Vader money, seriously. He's not going to run out of money anytime soon.
Yeah. James Bell asks, Mog, how would you feel if Teabags ended up being a story you were most famous for?
It already is.
How do you feel about that?
For the uninformed, what is Teabags? I need to know.
I already have. Teabags is the story that we were talking about earlier, which is pretty much
23 out of 24 cliches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, the best and greatest story.
All right.
So, yeah, Teabags is what I am known for universally in the writing circles, and quite a few of my followers on the websites know of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's gonna be my legacy, and that's, I have to live with that burden, knowing that when I die, the epitaph on my tombstone will read, "Here lies the author of Teabags."
With wonderful words like Merhole.
Oh, Christ. I forgot that's a word.
Oh, you're sticking Merhole. What the
God,
fuck
shut
is
up!
wrong with you?
Oh. Seriously.
Badge wants to cuck you out 5 ways to Sunday currently. So,
yeah, I've heard 2 words of that story and I'm already infuriated. Congratulations.
I loved it. As soon as I got to that bit, I was trying very, very hard not to have a giggle on my own.
It's a quick read. It's only 1 paragraph long.
Yeah, it's only 1 paragraph long. Only 1,400 words, right?
Yeah, no formatting, just 1 continuous paragraph.
Yeah. Part 1 of that, I think. I actually want you to. I'm not sure if you ever know, or if you've ever heard of a YouTube channel called Jello Apocalypse.
Isn't that an
Yes,
animation
I have
channel?
heard of it.
Hey.
That's an animation channel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an YouTube, and welcome to fanfiction.net. Actually, welcome to fanfiction.net. When I read, and this was allowed completely, when I was reading Teabags, I immediately just like read it in the same way that Jello Apocalypse did their whole. Because with Welcome to Fanfics, they were doing a whole bunch of like stories off of there, and I was just sitting there going like, cool. So in essence, what you did is that as a 30-something-year-old, you managed to write like 8-year-old and their understanding of what sex actually is.
Well,
No, 8.
The bad thing about the best and greatest story, which
Sorry.
is what's beautiful about it, is there is fiction out there that is the same caliber, and if you spend any time on the internet, you'll run across this. And unfortunately, the authors haven't been guided, I guess you would say. They don't have the right mentors. They think that this stuff is really good. And so I'm not trying to poke fun at any one person in particular, but I'm definitely making fun of the bad fiction that I've read over the years with the best and greatest story.
Yep.
It's like, it feels like the kind of stuff I don't know if you watch any Let's Play channels. There's one called Game Grumps that I watch quite frequently, and for some reason, like often one of the co-hosts will just pull up fan fiction from whatever game they're playing, whether it's like Sonic or Mario or whatever the hell, and just start reading erotic fan fiction of it on the show. And I'm like, dude, I do not want to listen to this right now, because they always look for the bad stuff as well. So yeah,
I will. And considering the fact that they might just play Final Fantasy at some point, I'm waiting for them to find teabags.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If Teabags were to become an animated story on like one of those bad fiction reading channels, I can't even imagine what that would look like.
Yeah, it would be funny. Like I would definitely generate some views. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a couple of YouTube channels out there that would be able to benefit from this in one way or another. Sudan Red actually mentions here fanfic shipping, Kylux and Raylo for the win.
I don't know who those people are. Should I know?
I don't know if you should. You know?
I don't play JRPGs really.
Mog, Dwayne asks, for what would you most like to be remembered for? For?
Oh, probably.
Yeah?
Probably my awesome mustache and BMX skills.
Okay. James Bell's response was Rick and Morty teabags.
Oh God.
Okay, so how do I get in contact with the Rick and Morty guys? Because our people need to talk. We need to do lunch. We need to make this happen.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can pull a few levers and get that on Interdimensional Cable season 4. I'd watch it.
I need to be right back. I'm yeah. I need to do something very, very quickly.
Alright, cool, no worries.
No, I'm fine. Fuck's sakes. Edgy crossover teabags is another one. Tox mentions My Immortal. Ugh. Definitely do something like that. Bad Space Doggo. Ooh! Ask Tempo if you could use some of his characters and created teabags for that.
Oh no.
But it's weird. Like, and I'm going to ask you this: does it take more skill to write a good story about something, or a bad one?
That's actually something that's come up quite a bit recently. And there have been a few authors that have tried to do satirical stories in the same style as Teabags, and their biggest complaint is that it's so hard to write bad. Like the true spiritual successor to Teabags was written by Sirska Greyraven, and it's called the best and greatest sequel.
Oh boy!
And she formatted it. It has formatting.
Mm-hmm.
And
what cardinal sin?
Yeah, when that was brought up, she was like, I can't not write with formatting. I had to format it.
Amateur.
Yeah. You have to be able to live with the sins that you've decided to take on.
But, yeah, there's this, like, the French have a term for it, for, the word I think is nanar, like N-A-N-A-R. It's the term for when something is, like, so bad, but yet so heartfelt at the same time that it doubles back as being good, like that kind of good-bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sort of, Sharknado is like a manufactured version of that. Like, Plan 9 from Outer Space is like the ultimate example of that.
I actually really like Planet 9 from Outer Space.
Plan 9, are you serious?
Yes. It was such a good concept. I enjoyed it.
Apart from the fact that one of the people died halfway through the show and they just replaced him with someone else and just had him keep his hand over his face the whole time. The fact that the boom mic is on in nearly every single shot.
Hashtag did not know.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, like, I mean, weirdly enough, I was thinking about I was actually watching something at work the other day it was like a 34-minute video about something like, not Atlantis, but what was the other one? The other Disney one that had to do with Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that, like, Treasure Planet was, like, fucked so hard, but was possibly one of the best things that Disney had ever done in its entirety.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I actually, like, all 34 minutes, I was sitting there agreeing with the dude who was actually talking about it. I was like, well, this actually sounds about right. Because I actually remember going to watch Treasure Planet. This was, what, 1996? 7?
I can't remember when it was released.
1994? No. It wasn't during the, like, whole Lion King thing.
Wait.
Like, they were going over to... They were going over to CG by this point already.
Good question.
Yeah?
Heinz Winkler, like the South African Idols winner, the first one, did one of the songs for... It was either Titan AE or was Treasure Planet.
AE. You're right,
Okay,
Titan AE.
just checking.
Yeah.
Cool, just checking. Because I remember there was a big fuss about that.
Because I watched that one as well. Heinz Winkler. Bad balls of face. With such a name, though, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Joe Kutler actually sent the Treasure Planet vid on one of the Telegram chats that we had. I actually also really love that movie. But yeah, so I mean, like, it's weird that, like, imagine something like that, like your best work that you'd ever done gets seen as a massive flop, but only like in monetary value. Like, how would you deal with that?
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Coming at it from an angle like I would like to be able to live off my writing, where that's all I do. But if I ever got like hugely famous with anything, good or bad, I don't think I would enjoy that attention. I think it would just be way too much, too overwhelming.
Yeah. That's sort of weird in that regard. Like, I think a lot of people would love sort of the spoils of success without like any of the drawback. Like, being famous is like, awesome, but then also everyone's snooping into your life, and every time you fart a little bit too loudly, it's on Twitter. It's trending on Twitter.
Fair enough.
I've never thought of it that way, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Sorry, people are arguing about when this came out. It was 2002.
Okay.
Towards the Planet came out in 2002. So, what?
Oh, just looking at the discussion in the chat.
Warning: not safe for work content and strong violence is not allowed. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. The room. Okay, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, then there's that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Mark. Speaking of which, like, if a movie is that bad, because I know, like, I mean, when it comes to, like, what was it? It's not Baz Luhrmann. Who's that guy who made, like, terrible movies of things like, what was it, Dungeons and Dragons?
You bowl.
Oh, yeah,
Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
this is
He
this is the guy who what? Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. This is the guy who.
No, who went on to, what was it, like, funding websites to ask people to pay him money so that he could continue to make shitty movies. That's how bad he got.
Yeah, but shortly after that, he rage quit movies. He, like, made a public video about it. He's like, I don't get funding because you guys are against me and everything, so fuck you, I'm not making any more movies. Essentially throwing his toys out of the cot. It's kind of funny. Like,
if you could ever come up with, like, a terrifyingly bad concept, like, you know, snakes on a plane kind of bad, what would be, or what has been the worst idea that you'd come up with that you really wanted to see come out, like something like Snakes on a Plane?
Are you talking, like, as far as making a movie? Because writing-wise, I've already done that.
Fair enough. But I mean, like, if you could ever try to do that again, are you going to try to do that again?
Oh, no. I can't. There's no way I could ever... That was a one-off thing. There's no way I could top it, because I would be trying to top it. And when I was writing it, I was just trying to make a joke that would make Dark End facepalm. That was really my only objective with that story.
well, congratulations, you essentially made the whole furry fandom facepalm at the same time.
Yeah.
I know.
And then there was, what was it? James Bell asked, if you were given the choice, would you rather be the Dan Brown or Thomas Pynchon of furry?
Oh. I don't know.
He asks all the tough questions.
Dan Brown, I guess. I don't know.
Well, okay.
I'm going to send a completely and utterly unrelated picture to Discord, and you guys need to tell me how you feel about this.
What did the other guy write? Pynchon?
I don't actually know. It must have been terrible.
Well,
Rotoscope.
At least Dan Brown has money. Da Vinci Code did quite well. Tacky as it was.
Tom's.
We're heading towards 9:30. I think we should start sort of plugging this hole.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like, when it comes to like projects that you do have coming up, what do you feel is something that you'd want other people to look out for?
Okay, so my story Gifts with the Goddess in Knotted 2, which I believe is slated for an Anthrocon release next year.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm really proud of that story. Like I said, that's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that, making that one what it is. So, it is erotica, of course. Not it is a BDSM anthology. I also have a story coming out in the Dystopia anthology that Fur Planet is publishing, and it's, I mean, the lineup, guys I'm sharing table of contents with, there are some really, really good authors, and I'm really interested to see their takes on dystopia. So that's also an Anthrocon release, I believe. It doesn't have a true title right now. The Dystopia anthology is a working title, so you'll just have to keep an eye out.
Have you? I'm not sure if you've heard the Iced Earth album Dystopia as well.
No.
Okay. No worries. Sorry, just random question. Also, James Bell asks, pineapples on pizza or not?
You know, I don't understand the debate, because pineapples and ham on pizza are great.
Amazing.
Pineapples with topping, not so much. So I guess I'm a middle of the road kind of person when it comes to pineapples on pizza.
we kind of need to send you biltong at some point, which is pretty much so pretty much what I'm trying to sort of get at is that like thinly sliced biltong with pineapple feta cheese is an absolute fucking winner. It is amazing.
It is.
Now, what kind of feta cheese? Because I've had feta made from sheep's milk and from cow's milk, and I much prefer the sheep's milk.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, either. I don't know the difference. We just buy feta cheese in the store. It comes in brine water, so that happens.
Right. Well, as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
On that high note of...
Very high note.
Yeah.
Absolute amazing, press questions.
Pulitzer winning fucking...
Yeah. We're really going up in the world. Pineapple and pizza.
Just, you know what? As in life, do whatever the hell you want with your pizza. I'm very libertarian about this kind of stuff. You want to put anchovies and artichokes or whatever the hell on your pizza, by all means. It just means I'm not going to have a slice.
Yeah, I'm gonna gag. No. Very no.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mog, for joining us this evening. We really appreciate having you here. It was actually a lot of fun talking to you. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can come up with something interesting to talk about next time.
No worries. And look, again, a lot of the people who are listening to us, they know that we're a bit madcap with some of the questions that we do ask, and some of the things we actually talk about. But at the end of the day, we intend to just have fun with whatever guest we have.
Yeah.
Right.
Our chats are very all over the show.
Yeah. I mean, we spent, 20 minutes talking about trucking, which was actually awesome. We love talking about trucking. Anchovies and artichoke hearts would be a crazy good pizza, says Dwayne.
Ugh.
Macaroni? Macaroni or shells is the final question.
Oh, shells. By far.
Shells.
Good man.
Okay, by far. Awesome. I don't mind either way. Pasta is pasta.
Yeah, but it's all about the texture and how well the sauce sticks to the pasta. I mean, that's why things like penne and the big what's it called? The bigger version of penne.
What's the bigger version of penne?
Good.
I have no idea.
The bigger version of penne? Tagliatelle.
No.
I wouldn't know. I seriously don't know.
Anyway, guys, Thanks a lot for joining us.
Alrighty, guys. Cheers, eh? Thank you very much. Obviously, just now we're going to be playing a little bit of music. Mog, if you actually want to, I can play some of the songs that you want to listen to, anything like that, if you want to continue, either sticking on to furry.fm or anything like that.
You wrote that story.
Badge obviously argues vehemently against you having any kind of rights whatsoever because you wrote that story. But yeah, so we're going to be playing a couple of tracks for the next, up until 12 o'clock, for the next 2.5 hours. We're going to be playing some music on furry.fm if you guys want to continue listening. We actually, Tox mentions Fagatelli. Great, thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Of course. With that, goodbye, cheers. I'll see you guys in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries, have a good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good night.
Good night.